So hello. Well, today I'd like to take a look at this, which is another book I have from Scott Hasty, or Hasty, however you want to, pronounce the chap's name. And this time co-written with a chap called David Spain. It's a lovely book. They're sort of like mid-90s versions, of things. And Hertfordshire is a place where I grew up. I was, I'm of Scottish origins, but effectively I grew up in Hertfordshire, in Watford mostly, which is there. You see, I went to school not far away in Berkhamsted. Yes, this book is all about the Hertfordshire Valley. So I'm very familiar with all these rivers like the Colne, the Gade, the Chess, the Misbourne, and Rickmansworth, where they all kind of tend to kind of flow into, and all these sorts of places. My mum actually lives in Tring now. She's still alive. She's 92 this year. Can you believe? The Bulbourne and the Lee Valley in Dunstable. All this is very, very, very familiar. Obviously the River Thames flowing through London. Weren't that far from London really. Watford's sort of like a kind of a the Whippendale Woods, but been there thousands of times. And of course these sorts of styles are classic entrances into woodland where you go. And the Grimsdyke, yes, well, how funny, a friend of mine lived in a place called Grimsdyke. So it goes right back to Neolithic, Bronze Age, the Hertfordshire Iron Age, all very, very interesting if you're interested in that sort of thing, which I am. I hope you are too, because otherwise this is going to be very boring. But we three kings of Orient are, bearing gifts we travel so far. He wasn't a good man, was he? The old bugger, Henry VIII. If he didn't like you, your head was in a basket, which wasn't good, especially if you were female. No chance. Poor Anne Boleyn. I always felt very sorry for her. Beautiful looking woman as well. Well, she had a nice smile on her face, I suppose, when her head finally rolled into the basket, but no, I shouldn't make light of it. So, Berkhamsted Castle, you can stick it up your... yeah, we've had that joke before. So, ultimately, what is Berkhamsted? Well, it's a market town, and it's part and parcel. Ovaltine was in King's Langley, which is in Hertfordshire, and they had a big factory there, and obviously everybody used to drink it before they went to bed. So, what's Hertfordshire, I should say, not Berkhamsted? But Hertfordshire is a beautiful county. Some would argue it ain't, but I would say it is. And it's up to you. But it's very sort of exclusive, nice place. Unfortunately, these pages were stuck together. God knows why. What makes them stick together, I don't know. I hadn't been there for years, so it's not me. But look at that. National coaches. Back in the day when things were sort of really, old, as it were. Look at that though. Footbridge on the bypass at Tring, 1994. I remember when they stuck that A41 bypass in. Actually, it was quite something. And the M25, I remember that being built as well, coming up. Obviously you come off the A. Well, the M25 is known colloquially as the orbital car park of London, because it's just hardly moving most of the time. Awful bloody road, But so there you go. There's the Grand Union Canal, Lady Chapel's Wharf. They've got all these sort of fancy names for these sort of places. That obviously the canal system was quite popular as a transport, before the railway came in. So there you go. And well, where I used to live around Watford and all the rest of it, these barges were commonplace, especially nowadays. In fact, they're more of a Crystal Palace. That's a pub, I think. Crystal Palace was it's now a public house, I think. But obviously a place for canals, and these are the horses that used to pull the barges, the bargees and all the rest of it. So how many people died cutting this damn thing in? I have no idea, but probably lots, because it was a very dangerous game. They used to kind of barrow up the soil up these, pulled by horses. Can you believe the madness of it all? But they excavate all this soil out, And then came the railway, of course. And well, absolutely Kings Langley, yes, Hemel Hempstead, you know, all these very familiar stations, Berkhamsted up to Watford sort of thing, and then on to Harrow, and they had over time they had later faster versions of the train that looks a little bit like the Mallard, isn't it? The speed record holder, steam obviously powered, you know, chuffing away sort of thing. They weren't without accidents, sadly, by the look of it. Yes. Things went wrong, especially once at Harrow, I remember, dreadful. Golden spray. Christ, that sounds almost pornographic, isn't it? Golden showers. No, I'm not, I can't go there. Sorry, that's my warped sense of humour. But, so Benskins, very popular. Watford Brewery, yes, definitely lived around there, right next door. Loved it. Oh, worked there actually. Ironically, that became Eastern Sun, and then John Glenanton. So how funny is that? I've actually worked for them as a child. You know, as a sort of 15-year-old, I used to sweep the floors up, stuff like that. Woods are still there, I believe. They're still there as an ironmongers. You know, that they're called now. They're still going, cracking on, fantastic. As I say, Ovaltine was part and parcel of the area, and well, that's a familiar place, the flour mill in Tring, and that's still there, I think. Although I don't know if the windmill is still there. I think it's probably gone. But there's Nash Mills, yeah, all interesting. What's that? The Wonder Factory. Well, that's the Ovaltine place, isn't it? That's the one I'm talking about. That you could see from the train as I went into school from Watford to Berkhamsted. I used to go past this place every day. Ovaltine. I think it's flats now. I think they've converted the darn thing into flats and what have you. Luxury flats, obviously. We're doing our duty for King and Country at Tring. Well, my old mother lives there now, so I don't know how much the duty's still going. Probably customs and excise are there, you know, knowing my luck. Whatever, but no, there they are, the First Lancers or whatever they are from Kensington Battalion. Bless them all. I presume they ended up bloody blown to pieces in trenches somewhere in France, but who knows? I hope not. But so that's interesting as well. Fighter Command, RAF. So the Second World War, into the Second World War now. Welcome to dinner. Yeah, I wish somebody would say that to me. That'd be good, wouldn't it? People working on bombs and stuff. Look, you know, Hertfordshire was very busy. It was a bustling sort of place for Leavesden, the mosquito squadrons. Weren't they made of wood, those darn things? I think they were. They were wooden, weren't they? Wooden planes. Very haphazard thing to fly, a wooden aircraft during the Second World War, because I've no doubt the bullets would just penetrate the darn thing straight away. The Kodak building was very famous on the Magic Roundabout in Hemel Hempstead. This roundabout's famous because you can go around it either way depending on which way you feel. There's mini roundabouts on it, and you can kind of go left or you can turn right. It depends what mood you're in, you know. At first there were so many accidents on it, they thought, well, hang on a minute, so they speed restricted it. But Hemel Hempstead and Marlows was a new town. They were known as new towns. Everyone speaks Cockney around there. They're all, hello mate, how's it going? It's all Michael Caine land, isn't it? How about you and me? I go down to shops, innit? And Barrow Boy, there was a bloke I used to know from Hemel Hempstead, we used to call him Barrow Boy Butcher, because his surname was Butcher. But he used to talk with a Cockney accent, innit? And the reason why was because in the East End during World War II, before buggers got bombed out of the place, and they were rehoused in such places like Hemel Hempstead, new towns, you know. So that's why they all talk Cockney, innit? The Earl of Essex, is that? I can't read it. Probably. But yeah, there's a lot of good places in the Grove. Oh yeah, okay, all right, okay. The Grove, one of the Earls of Clarendon. That's right, near Watford. Yeah, know it. Know the place. Still there, I think. There he is, the Earl of Clarendon with his good lady wife, and it looks like he's feeding his dog. I say, Spotto, have some bacon, old chap. But where the hell does it come from? I don't know. My brain is dissolving, so maybe it's from there. Well, I want my hair like that, innit? like a poodle. Langleybury Estate. I knew a girl from Langleybury actually. Kings Langley, Abbots Langley. Her name was what was her name? Sarah something. Liz. Lovely girl. We used to kind of go down to this old van in when we were at college at Cassia together, and we used to make whoopee in the back of an old van in an underground car park. Can you believe the dirt? Oh well, true stories though. I mean, I wouldn't make it up. Who could make this shit up? You know what I mean? But, it was all good. Yeah, it was all really good. I can tell you. What's that, Mrs. Fowler? on the prowler. No, that's interesting. I don't know who that is. It looks like a Chinese gentleman or a Japanese gentleman. Mrs. Fowler meets Mao Zedong. Oh goodness! Oh my God, that's interesting, isn't it? How about that then? And look at the cars. Hunton Park Management Centre. My old dad would have been familiar with that. They look like Morgans. It looks like a Morgan Rally. In fact, a friend of mine died in one of these bloody things. They were made of fiberglass, and he had a terrible accident with a Ford Cortina Mark IV. Coming out of Watford, he had a head-on collision, and the bloody thing just imploded on him, killed him instantly. Luckily, through the passengers, there were 3 passengers, threw them outside, and they were all found wandering about in shock, which was a dreadful accident, to be honest with you. I'm not making light of that. Abbots Langley, that's where my dear old Liz was from. Liz in the van. If it's rocking, don't come knocking. Bless her, she was great. Whopping great. Yes, lovely. A nice pair, let's put it that way. But no, these interesting architecture. Very, very interesting. I like it a lot. And obviously the sort of bathing rules and things, I suppose they were pertaining to, Leavesden Hospital was actually for mental patients in the end. Perhaps I should knock on their doors, see if they can take any more inmates. But yeah, Leavesden was a well-known sort of nut house in the locality, put it that way. Some of these places, unfortunately, they're all gone in it, and it's a shame, but these old Victorian whatever outdating Victoriana, definitely long gone, I suppose. But some of them are still there. Nice. I don't know if I can get this. For some strange reason, all the pages of this thing was stuck together. I don't know why. Kings Langley, that was up from Abbots Langley, and there was Apsley, Kings Langley, and then it went into Watford, the railway line, you know, as it were. So really, really, really lovely to see all these old photos. That's a bonkers trip down memory lane to me. Look at that, the demolition of something Mill Studio. It looks like it's on the wane, doesn't it? On the list it is. If they built it like that, they must have been sort of very inventive, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa sort of thing. That's a face and a half, isn't it? Good heavens, sir. Rudolf Steiner. My God, that's a face, but whoa, fair gave me a shock. The street, circa 1910, not quite, Chipperfield. So okay, Chipperfield, where Peter Sellers used to live. If you're up with film stars, Peter Sellers was a famous comic, and he used to live in the Manor House in Chipperfield, just there in that place. Not in 1953, I don't think. He was probably a bit later than that, in the 60s. But my old mum used to teach at Chipperfield. She was a teacher. She was a school teacher. Can you believe that? And she used to teach in kindergarten, you know, and she was very good at it. Bless her. Apsley, isn't it? A nice place. Apsley, Nash Mills and Apsley. There was a big paper factory there, and Basildon Bond, and they used to make sort of, you know, paper. To write it, you know, paper, you know, writing paper. So there it is. It's all going on. Demolition of Apsley Mill. Yeah, well, that would be probably the old Basildon Bond place, and it's knocked it all off to become a housing estate now. Sadly, wow, shame. Can't stand it when, well, I suppose things have to progress, don't they? But it's a shame because all my old memories are long gone now, unfortunately. Anyway, I better wrap this up because it's wrapping on again. It's that's how I feel. Every morning I wake up, I feel like that. But yeah, it's okay. That's Bovingdon. That's the well of Bovingdon. I remember that. I used to go past there a lot on my motorbike. So this is the old aerodrome at Bovingdon. During the war, in actual fact, it was used by the United States Army Air Force, USAAF, and heavy bombers used to go in. That's Princess Anne by the look of her. And yeah, they used to land there. Famous people like Clark Gable and Jimmy Stewart were pilots for the USAAF during World War II, and they were at Bovingdon. Can you believe it? Westbrook Hay. It's a school. It's a famous school. All these pages are stuck together for some reason. I don't know what's going on. Oh, Peter the Wild Boy. That's interesting, actually. Peter the Wild Boy, he was found in the woods. He was like a wild man, and he was brought up by wolves or something like that. And he couldn't speak, and he was a sort of very simple man. And he was eventually moved into a place called North Church, where he lived out the rest of his life, looked after by the government, you know. And but he was like a wolf. He was like a sort of a wolf man, you know. He was like a Tarzan, you know. You know, Umgawachita, you know, that sort of a chap. But not taking the mickey, bless him. He's buried still in the churchyard there. I don't think he made old bones, poor bastard. Yeah, he was famous. You can Google him in actual fact. He was quite a famous face, as it were. And obviously, he was like a circus show. Everyone sort of rolled up to see him, you know. Anyway, another bloody great video. Sorry about this. These things are racking on, aren't they? Good God. Good Lord, sir. Stop it. There you go. Hertfordshire Valley, very good book, very nice. Loads of love. Look at that, lovely faces in that. The Haley family, is it the Halsey family? Halsey family album, wonderful. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks ever so much for watching. As I say, very much appreciated that you if you're still here. Boom. Don't know where the dog is. Gone. Sorry. Anyway, interesting documentary about Ludwig II, the king. Cheers. Thanks for watching.